Hi, guys. Welcome back to Girl Therapy. I'm your host, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining me another week. We are in my bed this week if you're watching me on YouTube. Did you guys miss my bed? I missed my bed. I love recording from here. It's just the most comfortable and cozy. Today's episode is going to be about managing anxiety and stress. And I will just say briefly, I am not an expert. I am not a therapist. I am not a doctor. So if you have crippling anxiety, anything that feels it's debilitating, PTSD, a lot of trauma, you should probably speak to a professional. I highly recommend you do that. This is just for the girlies who, have some anxiety here and there, really stressed and stuff going on in their life. And I'm just going to give you some practical tips and lifestyle changes and things like that you can do to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and you can help manage it. I know I seem really cool, calm, and collected, but I have my moments. I definitely have anxiety from time to time. It's definitely lessened. I used to have really bad anxiety. Yeah, and obviously life is stressful. I have stuff that goes on in my life, but I've really been good at managing. I've really figured out ways to manage it and to help me and to just make things not so stressful. So I hope you guys love this episode. So let's just jump right into it because there was something that gave me anxiety last week. So going all the way back, like I said, I wasn't born with any sort of crippling anxiety. I don't have social anxiety. That's not something that I've ever had to deal with. But I do have situational anxiety, and like most people, there's things happen or that can stir up those feelings of me and I get really anxious. There was a time in my life when I had a lot going on and my lifestyle wasn't the best. I was making decisions that weren't feeding my soul, that weren't making me happy, that I knew that were wrong. I was making a lot of sacrifices at one point in my life, and these things would give me anxiety to the point where I had to stop drinking coffee because it was so bad that I was physically shaking and I would feel my throat almost close up. I felt like I couldn't breathe and I was just sitting, I wasn't even doing cardio. I constantly felt out of breath and I was really in my head about random thing. I was just really in my head about breathing and I thought that I was gonna choke and I couldn't even swallow. There were times when I would be eating and all of a sudden too, I would have this feeling of what if I'm allergic to this thing? It was very weird. I don't know. It was just, there was a lot of anxiety happening in my life and it manifested in a very weird way for me. And it made it really hard for me to even want to be social or do things because I was so anxious and I couldn't even be present because people are talking and all I can think about is if I'm breathing or if I, what's going on with my body and this and that. So I have had to deal with that. And like I said, something that really helped at that point in my life was cutting out coffee and then getting my shit together, to be honest, getting my shit together and making better decisions for myself and getting rid of the people in my life who are causing me that stress of anxiety. So if you know what it is that is causing you anxiety, a lot of times we know. There's moments where we don't, but if there's a certain thing or person that's giving you anxiety and you can change that thing, change it. Remove that person because I promise you the way that you are feeling is not worth it. Your mental health and how you feel is the most important thing. If somebody is not adding to that, if somebody is not making you a better person, if somebody is not easing your anxiety, if somebody's not making life easier for you or making you feel like it is a safe space, get rid of that person. And I know it's going to be hard. And you can listen to one of my friendship breakup videos or something like that. But your mental health is the most important. And you have to take care of you. You have to make decisions that best serve you. It's going to be hard in the moment, but in the long run, I promise it is so worth it. A lot of the decisions that are the hardest for us are the ones that are best for us. And it's not going to feel good at first, but it will feel good eventually. So, like I said, if there is a specific thing, change it. Because what you are not changing, you are choosing. If there are specific people in your life that are causing you anxiety, remove them, okay? But last week, I have a pretty good circle. I especially with my yoga teacher training people, everybody is just kind of on the same wavelength. Everybody's very uplifting and positive, and I'm around such a supportive group of people for 5 days of the week. I have the best energy around me always, and it's incredible. I leave feeling like I can fly. For the most part, I'm cruising. I'm soaring. I have amazing people in my life too who I can maintain the high, But then sometimes you're going to encounter people with bad energy or who burst that bubble. And my bubble was burst last week by somebody who I thought was a very, uplifting person. And I mean, his job is essentially to like make people feel good, make people feel better, and give advice and motivation. And he kind of talked down to me, and he referenced something from my past, and it wasn't even something that like I did to him, or that like it was like word of mouth that like, oh, whatever, I won't even get into the details of it. But essentially like this person was talking down on me and talking about a version of me that didn't exist. And he also, one of the things that actually like triggered me was, he knows I have this podcast, and he was like introducing me to somebody, and he was like, oh yeah, Nicole is a therapist, and she has a podcast where she therapizes people. Like, I don't know, it just felt very condescending and like belittling. And I was just kind of like, okay, you have never even listened to a podcast episode. You just see little clips here and there. And two, don't say it like I don't pour my heart and soul into this, and this isn't actually something that I love and it's my baby. I'm not coming on here posing as a therapist or posing like I know all the answers. I talk about my life, and I know how many of you girls value this and love this podcast and love me and really look forward to these things, and how much I've helped you guys. So for somebody to talk about it like that as if it was a joke, I was like, but I was also kind of like, F you, like I did not feel good about that. It stirred something up in my nervous system where I just like wanted to go on the defense for all of you guys, but also for me, because I was like, that's hurtful for you to say and for you to talk about it like that. And it caused me a lot of anxiety. Like the things that he said and referencing this old version of me and kind of like belittling what I do now, I was just kind of like, ew. And it gave me anxiety because I haven't been around somebody with that low energy in a really long time, or somebody who like kind of felt like they weren't supporting me and they weren't on my team, and I thought they were. And I can't describe the feeling, but it was just like I felt physically ill. Like I felt really sick, and it took me 2 days to recover. And honestly, I still have some like lingering anxiety, which is why I'm talking about it now, because I feel like it always helps when I talk about it. But it literally was like energy vertigo is how I described it, because I felt like I was thrown off balance. And it was kind of like a shock to the system where I was like, whoa, like that was the first, I've been functioning on such a high vibration. So to experience anything below that felt really low. It felt like my serotonin just dropped, and I was just like, my world was rocked. And I had to go home. First of all, I had to finish my workout, and I was like, let me try to like walk this off and see if I feel better. And I just kind of like, it disturbed me. I couldn't get back in the zone. I couldn't get back to like a happy vibration. Like I was just kind of like annoyed and anxious and like in my head then. And I went home. The first thing I did was I closed my blinds. I laid out my yoga mat. I lit my candles. I lit my Palo Santo. I sprayed my like cleansing spray. And I started flowing a little bit. And I put on my music, my like mantra music. And then I also phoned a friend. She didn't answer, so I was like, let me flow. And then she calls me back. So I just kind of like moved my body, and I laid there in child's pose for a little bit. And then my friend called me back, and I told her what happened. And we talked it out, and she gave me some really good advice, and she validated my feelings. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. I let all the feelings like come over me. I let everything out how I felt. And then I took care of myself. I did yoga. I poured my time into some things that I had been having to do, some editing. And then I went to yoga teacher training, and I did my thing. And then I woke up the next day, and I was a little bit anxious still because, like I said, like I had like vertigo, like I was like still recovering. And then I did my thing again. I took care of myself. I meditated this morning actually for the first time in a while. And I did my yoga class, I did my Pilates, and I journaled. And I've just been really, taking care of myself as if I were a baby, like giving myself some extra love and care and attention, because it's when I'm anxious is when I need myself the most. This is not a time for me to abandon my feelings. This is not a time for me to, sit at home and relish in it. This is the time for me to really pour my energy into things that are going to serve me and uplift me and give me confidence and make me feel good and bring me back to that level that I'm used to. So yeah, I want to talk about, getting, when you have anxiety, how to rein it in and how to deal with that. The first thing, like I said, how I flowed, I did yoga. Turn to something that makes you feel in tune with your body. And for me, that is yoga. It's a bit of a meditation, but it's also a way for me to express myself. And it's the safe space for me, is on the mat. So if there's a space that you have, or if you want to try yoga, or if you want to try something like that, try it. Moving your body is the best way to release energy. Any sort of exercise, even if you're going for a walk, do some cardio, go to the gym, take a class. Something to release your excess energy is a great way to help with stress and a great way to help with anxiety. Whenever somebody's like, I'm anxious, I'm like, have you gone for a walk? Have you been outside today? Have you looked at the sun? Have you had some fresh air? It is so important to move your body. The next thing that goes along with yoga for me is mindfulness. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned from yoga is when I'm on that mat, I can't escape it. You have to be really mindful. You have to be in the moment and alert what's going on. As soon as I start thinking about a million other things, I've already missed 10 steps of the flow. And I'm somewhere else and my foot's in the wrong place and I'm not breathing when I'm supposed to be breathing. I'm exhaling when I'm supposed to be exhaling or inhaling. So really being present, and breathing is so important. When you control your breath, you control your body, you control your emotions. If you're not breathing, you're going to be anxious. If you're breathing too much, you're going to have that panic anxiety. That's when you have a panic attack. When you are in control of your breath, you are in control of yourself. Breathing is everything. This is the biggest takeaway that I've had from yoga teacher training. Breathing is everything. It's how we live. How you breathe is how you live. If you are constantly, you're going to be anxious. If you are taking slow breaths, you can calm yourself down. And there are breathing techniques. We take 20,000 to 40,000 breaths a day, I believe. We don't really notice them unless we're having an anxiety attack or we're panicking or we're anxious, is when we start to feel our heartbeat and feel our breath. So when I'm on the mat doing yoga for that hour a day or 2 hours a day, 4 hours a day at this point, that is the most mindful breaths that I take all day. They're intentional. I'm breathing in and I'm breathing out. And a lot of time I'm breathing in, the good stuff. I'm exhaling the bad stuff, the worries, the things, exhaling the anxiety, the energy, everything. I am controlling that. Do not underestimate the power of breath and breathing techniques. And I'll go over that too. We've learned a lot of breathing techniques. There's box breathing, there's bee breath. Look up some breathing techniques. A lot of those have proven scientific facts to ease your anxiety. My friend just texted me a couple days ago. She was having a really bad anxiety attack and I wasn't with her. And I'm so happy that I'm learning all this stuff now because I'm actually able to give her techniques to breathe, to help, that have backed up data that help you out. Use this. Those are like quick fixes for in the moment if you're having anxiety. So let's say you do the breathing techniques, you do the meditation, you do the workout, and you're still having anxiety. What else can you do? The next thing that you can do, and like I said before, how I called my friend, find support, have support, friends, family, whoever it is, talk to people. You don't have to bear your burdens. You don't have to bear your problems alone. Talk to God, journal. You have to release it, because if you don't, you're going to think about it over and over and over again, and you're going to continue to stress yourself out. How many times do you work yourself up because you're thinking about the same situation, and then you go back to it, and then you start reworking things in your head, and then you start thinking about it from another perspective, and suddenly it's like we've altered the entire thing, or we've made it a bigger deal than it actually was because we've thought about it too much. And guess what? It's out of your control too. So it's also a waste of energy. So just have the people around you to at least talk to about it and release it, and put pen to paper, talk to God, and just be like, you know what, this is stressing me out. Because sometimes I think when you talk about things too, you take the power away from that thing. That's why when I'm having anxiety sometimes, or when I'm upset about a certain thing, I'll say, okay, I'm having anxiety right now. Even if nobody's there, it's like, I'm having anxiety right now. Let's address the elephant in the room. And I think by even doing that, you take the power back in some sense. And then you're able to be like, okay, well, now what can I do? Because now you're aware of what's happening. So I think it's obviously having support is amazing. And I get not everybody has that, which is why I say journal, or maybe even turn to a podcast or something, that maybe this podcast or somebody who feels supportive to you and isn't judgmental. The next thing, remove anything that is propelling your anxiety or stress. So if it's something on social media, if it's seeing a certain thing, remove that. You don't have to look at it. Take care of yourself. Limit your exposure to that. Limit your screen time. I also think like scrolling and stuff like that can give us anxiety if we're continuing to do that, because maybe we'll see something, but also you're just distracting your brain and it's a waste of energy. And a lot of the times you're just avoiding what you want to actually address or need to address, or something that you have to do. And that's causing you more stress or anxiety. Sometimes we're just delaying having to do something because we don't want to do it, or because it is stressing us out. So then we start doing other things, but then we're causing ourselves more stress because we are not giving ourselves either enough time, or we know that we're avoiding it. And then we're starting to have feelings of guilt, or we're starting to have feelings of like getting in your head, or I can't, whatever it is. So limit your screen time, limit the exposure to certain things, and write down maybe what you have to do if it's causing you stress or anxiety. If there is something that you have to get done and it's stressing you out, do a to-do list. And then we can time manage. And then you can block out time and give yourself appropriate, doable deadlines to tackle certain tasks. You don't have to do it all in one day. You don't have to figure it out all in one day. And what I mean by time management is you could be managing if you have to work on a project, you have something due, you have homework, whatever it is, right? Give yourself, okay, in this 30 minutes, I'm going to knock this out, and then I'll have a 15-minute break, and then I'll tackle this next. And really give yourself something that's digestible. If it's something that's causing you anxiety or perpetual stress, long-term stress, and it's a person, a situationship, a breakup, whatever it is, also make it digestible for you. If it's like, I'm gonna not talk to this person for 2 days, that's digestible for me, 2 days. Give yourself those 2 days. And then sometimes you'll make it to 2 days and you'll be like, wow, that was actually a lot better. That was a lot easier than I thought, or that felt really good. Let me actually now make it 4 days. Let me make it a week. And this is a tactic to, get over a situationship, get over this, get over that, get over something that is causing you stress or anxiety, is to break it off in pieces. Because I think if you're stressing about a situation, it's really hard to wrap your head around, well, what am I never going to talk to this person again? Or what am I going to hear from the next? Or when do I see them next? And blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I tell myself, like, you know what? This isn't the end all be all. Just because it's not today, just because it's not next week, just because it's not 2 weeks from now, doesn't mean it's not ever. And you have to kind of give yourself that grace. And then when you do, you're going to realize, like, when there's some time between a situation or a thing or a person, you're like, wow, actually, I really needed that space. And that gave me a really fresh perspective, and I'm feeling a lot better. And, that person was stressing me out, or that person was causing me anxiety. And now that I put distance between us, one, I know I can do it, but two, I know what it feels like and it feels good. And I'm going to continue on this path. So breaking things up in digestible ways for you is so, so important to managing that stuff. Again, if you are having long-term stress and anxiety, and maybe something didn't exactly happen, but you don't know where this is stemming from, look at your lifestyle. What are the things that you're doing? What are the habits that are working for you, and what's not working for you? For me, that one time that I was having really bad anxiety, it was coffee. I love coffee to death. I had to cut it out. It was not helping me. And coffee is obviously like stimulating. It gets caffeine. So if you're already anxious and jittery about something, it's not going to help you. It's going to spike your nervous system. So maybe it's coffee for you. Maybe it's energy drinks. Maybe it's too much sugar or sweets. Maybe it's alcohol. I've removed alcohol for I think it's almost been 7 months now, and it's been the best 7 months of my life. I don't overthink things. I manage my emotions a lot more. My stress is managed a lot better. I have a lot more time to prioritize things and get things done, and I'm not anxious about waking up with a hangover. A lot of times hangovers would also make me anxious. A lot of us having anxiety, and my decisions have gotten a lot better. I'm in full control of myself. So removing alcohol from my life has actually removed the possibility of me having anxiety because of something that I did, something that I said, me not now me maybe missing the gym, or maybe feeling bad that I got too drunk, or waking up the next day and feeling sick and then missing my workouts and then my room's a mess, and even talking about it's giving me anxiety. But you guys know the feeling. So if that's not serving you, remove it. Stop doing it. And that's how I felt. Like I was like, okay, remove it, Nicole. And then I did. Easy. I'm pretty black and white with that stuff. So for me, I'm like, it's not serving me, get it out. I don't want anything to do with it. And alcohol is a big thing. Alcohol is a depressant. Alcohol does not add any value to your life, truly. And then I'm not like, no hate if you do it, but I'm saying like, if you're waking up with anxiety, or alcohol is actually making your life worse, or you're doing it in excess, you should take a look at that and try it out. Again, make it digestible. I'm not going to drink for a week. I'm not going to drink for 2 weeks. I'm going to take the month off. Whatever is digestible for you, try it out, because you just don't know. And then I think you'll get, because like how I did, addicted to the feeling of feeling good. So really look at your life. Are you waking up late? Me, it was like I was like feeling a little stressed and anxious because I felt like my day was constantly getting away from me. And it's not like I woke up late, but I would sometimes dilly-dally. I'd wake up at 7:30 or 8. Or sometimes I because I knew I was going to yoga at 10, it was like, oh, I'll sleep until 8:30, 9. But then it's like I get home and then it's 1 p.m. and then I'm like, I haven't even had lunch yet. And then I eat lunch and then I get ready and now it's already 4 p.m. And I'm like, well, where the hell did the day go? So if maybe waking up earlier could solve some of your problems. I've started waking up now at 6:30. I love it. Sometimes I get up at 6 and I'm just like up and at 'em, time to get shit done. And it's allowed me so much more time in my day, which allows me a little bit more freedom. And also I have that quiet like hour or two in the morning where nobody's on social media. There's nothing to check. There's nobody texting me except for my other friend who wakes up super early and we just say good morning to each other. And it's the best way to start my day. But give yourself that extra hour of alone time, of quiet time. What can you do in that hour for yourself, for your mental health? And it's the best thing because you can wake up and you're like, wow, I don't have to rush around. I can meditate. I can listen to, I can read a book. I could listen to some music, a podcast, something to get my mind right in the morning, because that's really going to affect how your day is. If you start your day really panic and frazzled and with an anxious and you feel like you're in a rush, that's going to translate to the rest of your day. And those are usually the days where like everything goes wrong and then you're more stressed and then you go to bed and you're like stressed. So speaking of going to bed earlier, getting more sleep. Sleep is so important to stress and anxiety. You don't realize it. A lot of us don't, but the impact that sleep has on your life is huge and immense. I would like to get better at sleeping. I want to start taking magnesium. I've never done it. I've never tried mouth tape, but apparently that's a thing. I really want to start thinking about how I can take care of my sleep better. Because obviously if you're well rested, you're going to wake up feeling good. If you're not well rested, you're probably going to be stressed and anxious. Like that's going to translate to your body. So taking care of your sleep is very, very important. Going to bed early, waking up early. And yeah, I also love that waking up early now has actually helped my sleep, because by the end of the day, I'm actually tired. Not that I was waking up so late, but I do just think waking up early, I've been able to put myself on a better schedule where it's like before, if I wasn't waking up at the same times every day, I didn't know when I would get sleepy. Now it's like I get sleepy at like 9:30, I'm out by 10, which is my ideal sleep schedule. I would say like the last thing, and like I kind of touched on this in the beginning, is creating a calm environment for yourself, creating a space that feels safe for you. For me, it's coming home, dimming my lights. I don't have any harsh lighting on ever. Lighting some candles, putting on my mantra music. I always have something going on in the background that's like good vibes. And that calms my anxiety. That calms any stress that I have, is making sure that the space around me is serene and safe and quiet and clean. And clean. It's so important. Clean your room. Okay, our moms always said, clean your room. You never understand because you just think that they're being annoying. But really, they probably were. Honestly, it wasn't about it was about them, their stress, their anxiety, right? But now it's like I'm looking at a bra on my floor and it's like, I gotta pick that up. It's distracting, but it's also can cause some stress and anxiety. If you're looking around, if your room feels messy, you're gonna feel messy yourself. So your environment is super important to managing your stress and anxiety and how you feel. And I can't say this enough. Please try yoga. It changed my life. And I would love to do a whole episode on this. I don't know if you guys are interested in this. If you are, let me know about my journey with yoga and how much of an impact it's had. And somebody asked me today, like, why did you decide to become a yoga instructor? And it's because I know what yoga has done for me. And you guys have seen me change. I owe a lot of my transformation and how in tune with myself and my emotions and myself and how much I care about my body now and love my body to yoga. I owe it to my faith and to yoga. And yoga is a meditative practice. The entire thing is meditative. Why it's so repetitive is because it puts you in a meditation. And I've learned to embrace that. And I really used to shy away from things that were repetitive because I felt that they were boring. And I have that type of brain that's like, but I needed it the most. I needed stability the most. And doing something that's repetitive and showing up for myself every single day. And maybe it's a different practice for you that's meditative. Maybe it's the gym, but doing something consistently for yourself every single day will help with your anxiety. And it will also help with your stress. My body knows when I'm on that mat, it's time to unwind. It's time to relax. It's time to be calm. It's the time that I disconnect. I put my phone away unless I'm filming my workout or something like that. But I put my phone away. A girl today, I'll just tell you guys, a girl today in Pilates was on her phone the entire time. And it pissed me off and it stressed me out because she was ruining my zen because she had to text in her group chat the whole class. And usually the instructors say something, but like this instructor was like trying to like, I don't know, I don't blame her at all. And she went over and like kind of stood by her to see if she would put her phone down, and she didn't. This girl she just had no care in the world. I thought it was super disrespectful, so I had to tell you guys about it. But disconnect from your phone. You can look at it later. Nothing, hopefully, is that urgent. If it's urgent, hopefully somebody gives you a call and you step out of the room. Or if you have important work to do, just don't go to the class, But if you are there to take care of yourself, if you're taking a group fitness class, if you're going to the gym, if you're going on a run, if you were working out, disconnect from the phone. Give yourself that hour to be present and in the moment. And being present, it'll just give you a whole new perspective on life, and you'll feel refreshed. You'll feel born again. You'll have no worry in the world for an hour. Give yourself that hour to yourself. This stuff feels like I don't think I said anything groundbreaking, but I hope that it's maybe motivated you to make some small lifestyle changes, or to at least, give you the push of being like, okay, I know I have to do these things, Nicole, and you're right, I'll actually do them, because it's really changed my life. And I let things roll off my shoulder pretty easily these days, and I wake up happy, and I am happy, and a lot of times if I'm stressed or anxious too, just smiling and talking to somebody and engaging in conversation with somebody, it doesn't have to be about anything, but I think sometimes that helps me put things in perspective. And I'm just like, wait, we're all just on this earth together. Like, it's not that serious. Like, life's fun, and this person has their stuff going on too, and everybody has something going on, and you're never alone. You have me, you have other people, but we're all going through something. You don't know everybody's story. We all have something. So you're never alone in your stress and anxiety. And I'm not trying to make your problems feel like they're not problems, because they probably are. I'm sure they're problems. We all have problems, but like, things have a funny way of sorting themselves out and working out. And sometimes you just have to let things go and let things be. and just focus on the things that you can control that are right in front of you. And you can control your environment for the most part, hopefully. You can control the people around you. You can control how you move your body. You can control how you show up for yourself. You can control what you put in your body. Besides just alcohol and maybe, the weed and all this stuff. The weed. It's like a mom. But like that stuff, that could also cause you anxiety. That used to cause me anxiety. I don't smoke. I tried to do it when I was like, try to be cool when I was younger. But I didn't like the feeling that it gave me because it was like a weird breathing thing for me too. Like that gave me anxiety. But controlling also like the food that you're eating, the nutrients that you are taking in, your gut, what you eat, your gut plays a part in your emotions. People who have healthy guts have a healthier mental state. There's definitely science behind that. There's something with like your microbiome definitely controls your happiness and can have an effect on your stress levels. When I'm eating unhealthy and I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not feeling my body properly, I do feel more stressed and anxious opposed to when I'm giving myself nutrients and what my body needs and feeding myself a well-balanced diet. So also take a look at your nutrition and your eating habits and stuff, and when you're eating too. Maybe don't eat too close to bed. That could definitely spike your anxiety if you're having sugar right before bed and then you can't sleep. Like everything's connected, right? So we really just have to be more mindful with how we are living our lives and controlling the things that we can control, because a lot of it is in our control. And anything that isn't, let it be. Just let it be. I promise it'll work out. It always does. It always works out. You're not going to see it now, but it will. So just breathe, eat healthy, move your body, take care of yourself, love yourself, show up for yourself, and let the rest of the stuff take care of itself. Okay? I love you guys so much. I hope this episode was helpful. I can't wait to teach you guys. I'm teaching my first yoga class this weekend on Saturday. If you're able to come, I would love for you to be there. All the details on my story. I'll be teaching sunrise yoga at 8 a.m. Girls Gone Social asked me to teach, so it's going to be a 45-minute class. Am I a little bit nervous? Yeah, but I'm excited. I just can't wait to spread the good energy and for you guys to hopefully feel the same way that yoga makes me feel. That's all I got for you. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at Nicole Doyon, TikTok Nicole_Doyon, and Snapchat Nicole Doyon, and here on YouTube Nicole Doyon. I love you guys so much. I will chat with you next week. Bye.